to Newsmax TV. I'm John Bachman. Joining us now on the phone is the former governor of Mississippi, Haley Barbour. Governor, thanks for being with us.
No, John, thank you.
All right, so we're getting a look at the election from last night, and I wanted to talk to you specifically about demographics. Of course, you come from a state, Mississippi, that has a very large African-American population, the largest based on percentage. How are you able to govern successfully with the demographics kind of working against traditionally the way they lean towards the GOP in Mississippi, and why is that not translated yet nationally?
Well, it's very much harder nationally. Just to answer your question, I have observed over 44 years in politics that the closer the office is to the public, the more successful Republicans can be in getting the votes of African Americans. The top of the ticket is the hardest of all. As governor, my first time, when I was elected the first time, being an incumbent Democrat, I almost got 10% of the black vote. Not quite. When I ran for re-election, I got well over 20%. And the reason is simple. I did what I said I was going to do. In fact, one of the two big black newspapers in the state wrote an editorial my second year as governor, and in it the editor said, "I don't know why people are complaining. He's just doing what he said he was going to do."
Well, obviously, the GOP has a lot of ground to make up with Hispanic voters as well. And there has been discussion already the day after the election from the GOP and from the president about immigration reform. How can the GOP put its mark on this immigration reform and perhaps sway the minds of some of these Hispanic voters that overwhelmingly voted for President Obama's reelection?
Well, hopefully we won't ever have a candidate again who kind of boxes himself in the way that Romney did. I mean, the idea of self-deportation is not a good place to try to attract votes. It's also not a good policy. And what we need to do is be for good economic policy. And that should be the source of our effort for immigration reform. And remember, John, only two presidents in the modern era have ever introduced an immigration reform bill. Ronald Reagan, who passed one, and George Bush, who couldn't pass one but tried very hard. Both Republicans, by the way. Barack Obama has never proposed an immigration reform bill. You know, despite saying that he would offer a comprehensive immigration reform bill, he never did. He tried to put this DREAM Act through Congress during a lame duck session, which is everybody knows is not serious. Immigration reform is very serious business, and the next Republican president, if we haven't already achieved good immigration reform, ought to try to do it. And why? Because it's good economic policy.
Now, does it benefit the GOP more to try and do this sooner on a bipartisan level with President Obama sometime in the next 4 years, or does it benefit them more to wait and so that they can really take the lead on immigration reform, maybe 2016 when there is a Republican president in the White House?
Well, you need to try to get good policy passed when you can get it passed. Now, we don't even know what Obama's going to be for. But if he did something similar to Marco Rubio's version of the DREAM Act, I think that would draw a lot of Republican support, and I think it would be good policy for the country. There's some other things. We need strong guest worker programs in this country. We need more H-1B visas in this country. We need comprehensive immigration reform. If Obama and the Democrat Senate are willing to support something that is good policy, is reasonable, will help us grow the economy, then we ought to support it if it's next year. If they want me for something good, then we'll have to wait till we have somebody who will offer something good. But I would imagine, as much as this was an issue in the campaign, that Obama can't duck it again.
I want to switch now and ask you about social conservatives. We saw the impact of some perhaps some inopportune comments about rape in two of the Senate races, which played a big role and the makeup of the way the Senate races broke. How do social conservatives rally from this point, and where do they fit in now with the Republican Party?
Well, I am a social conservative. That doesn't mean you have to say stuff that's stupid or that makes it harder for people to vote for you. I mean, you can be a social conservative and show good judgment. But at any rate, we have a lot of great social conservatives in our party who are making a huge contribution. Some of them as elected officials, some of them in other ways. That's not the problem. The problem is that when a social conservative says something that is disconsonant, then the press is going to play that up like nothing you ever saw. And so, we saw we kicked away 2 Senate seats. If Lugar had been renominated, it wouldn't even been a race in Indiana. And Todd Aiken was the only Republican in the whole state of Missouri that Claire McCaskill could possibly beat. And she beat him by more than 15 points. But nominating strong candidates who have run good campaigns will elect a lot of social conservatives. But I want to say, too, there are a lot of moderate Republicans and conservative on some issues, but not socially conservative, who are just as good Republicans as I am. And we need them working. We all need to work together so that we don't that this Obama thing can't continue.
So
obviously we need to start getting ready for 2014.
The midterm elections certainly be huge, and I hate to do this to you, but it's probably happened to you more than once already since the election. 2016, looking forward, we saw this election, a moderate Republican from Massachusetts get the nomination. Do you see the party moving in a more conservative direction to a more conservative, fiscal conservative, social conservative candidate in 2016?
Well, it just depends on who the candidates are. I mean, let's don't forget, a whole bunch of candidates offer themselves, and millions of Republican voters in a variety of states choose from among them, and that's how we pick our nominee. We don't, the gray-haired elder statesmen don't get to name the nominee, and they shouldn't get to name the nominee. So we'll just have to see who offers as a candidate, quality of the campaigns that they run.
Right now, who would be your top 3 choices?
I don't think Romney lost because he is not as conservative as I am, but he's more moderately conservative than I am. I don't think that was the difference.
Did he maybe lose because he went so far right in the primary and then tried to refocus to the middle in the general election?
I think it was less that than the fact that from about April to the end, the Democrats carpet bombed him and attacked him to try to make him to disqualify him, frankly, to make him unacceptable to the voters. And that early on and through the summer, just about, those attacks went unanswered. And I was brought up in the school of politics that an unanswered attack is an attack that is admitted. And, of course, a lot of this about Romney was just pure bunk, just pure made up. And a lot of it was very personal and nasty. And the Romneys are as nice a people as you're ever going to meet. And they are godly people. They are generous people. They are big-hearted, fine family. So that's more irksome about it. But it worked.
We saw that class in the concession speech from Governor Romney last night. Real quickly before we let you go, Governor, wanted to get your quick take. The 3 people you want to see at the front of the line to be nominated for the GOP in 2016.
Well, I wish Mitch Daniels had run this time. I think he would have been our best candidate. I don't know what Jeb Bush will want to do in the future. Whether he continues to feel like, the country's had as many Bushes as they want, I don't know. But what a great governor he was of Florida and a great leader for the country. But we got a bunch of young ones that are so attractive, and will, some of them are going to be, or think they're going to be ready, and more power to them. Time for guys like me to get out of the way.
Well, we did see the importance of the youth vote benefiting President Obama, so maybe an appeal to some younger voters would benefit the GOP in 2016. Haley Barbour, former governor of Mississippi, thanks so much for your time, sir. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Take care, John. Bye-bye.